Catholic Teachers Lounge with Jill and Colleen.
Welcome to the Catholic Teachers Lounge, the only podcast by Catholic school teachers for Catholic school teachers. I'm Jill. I'm here with Colleen. We are grateful to be together again to laugh and explore and connect. Thank you to Loyola Press for sponsoring us and for you, the teachers, for doing what you do every day.
Jill, I got a question for you.
Okay,
so I'm curious, when you're trying to make a decision, you're trying to do something where you're really focused, maybe you're doing a homework assignment, whatever the case may be. Are you a person that sits still?
No, never.
And you need to focus on it? Do you get up and pace? What do you do to help you focus?
I move things. I chew the end of my pen. I'm constantly moving my hands. I don't sit still. I don't even have a seat at my desk.
You don't have a seat at your desk? Do you stand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I make people really uncomfortable.
Have you always been that way?
Probably.
So when you would sit in class in school and try to listen?
I would chew. I was the kid who would the pen would explode in my mouth because I would chew the end of the pen.
You were that kid.
Or
okay.
I would fidget with the end of the pen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. When I was in school, which was long before you were in school, we really weren't allowed to have anything in the classroom like that. I remember kids chewing on erasers or chewing on paper.
My mom thought I would choke on the end of the pen. You know, like sometimes you could pull it out.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Or kids would rock in their back on their. I saw
chair.
Many kids fall in chairs. Yeah. So we've gotten a little wise these days, you know, the last several years really to really think about when there are students who actually need to be moving, and adults as well, who need to be moving in order to focus. Now, I learned this. I can think of a couple of students that I had who I did just have to let them get up and walk around, pace, chew on something, have something in their hand. It was just helpful because if they were trying to sit still, they were using all their energy just to try to sit still.
Okay, but there's a philosophical range here, and I
Definitely.
know you have a background, like you know more about this than I do, but are we supposed to be teaching kids to not fidget, or are we supposed to be allowing them to fidget because it helps them to focus? Or, and this is my big fear I want you to squelch in this time, or are we teaching kids who didn't fidget that they should start?
Absolutely
fidgeting?
Not. And okay, so we'll get to that.
Okay, good.
Hopefully we'll get to
Good.
that. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is there are some students, and usually it's students that have ADHD, which is a neurological. It's not behavioral. It is neurological.
Okay.
And so there is something in them that requires that they are able to move in order to let their brain focus. Okay. So not every person needs that though. So for example, I have some fidgets here on the table. Okay. And this one here, it's a marble in a sleeve.
Yes.
And this is my favorite fidget, but I'm a neurotypical person. And when I play with a fidget.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean neurotypical?
Okay. So I do not necessarily have a diagnosis of any kind.
Okay.
So I'm not on the spectrum. I'm not ADHD. I'm not dyslexic. Okay. I'm neurotypical.
Okay.
So this marble, when I use it, it actually is a distraction for me.
Okay.
Because I'm playing with it and it's taking my focus away from what I'm supposed to be thinking about. So it actually clears my head. So it has the opposite effect. So I don't know. It doesn't, I wouldn't be able to listen to the teacher talk and play with this. Okay. So if I can just sit still and listen, but I know many, many students who can. My son is one of them. So my son, what is this thing called?
I think it's a track.
Okay, so this is a track. This is what my son uses, and he says he has to use it in order to filter information through his mind. And so he does a much better job when he can move.
So how well can students some of my background is in metacognition and thinking about your thinking, and how well can we self-reflect and teach skill sets in that space. So how well can students self-assess, like, I need a fidget, I don't need a fidget? Like, how do they figure that out? Because as you're talking, I have already self-diagnosed myself, like, for the first time ever. I'm thinking, do I have ADHD? Like, I don't know. Which happens often when I talk to you, Colleen. I start to diagnose. I think I have everything.
Question things that you thought you knew.
Yeah,
and now you're wondering.
thought I knew myself.
Well, that's a great question, though. And my answer to that is you really have to, everything is trial and error with these things, because some of them are going to be distracting to some students. These are toys. To some adults, these are toys. You call them fidget toys.
I worry. Well, and that's my biggest worry.
I call them fidget tools. You call them toys.
I also have kids. I brought some of these from home. Like, they have hundreds of them. So I see the marketing side of this, which drives me crazy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
This is like the Oriental trading of the next generation. Right. Is hundreds of these things in my house, and my kids, do they need them or not? How does a parent know if their kid needs a fidget?
Because if they use it as a toy, then it is not necessary. If they use it when they are sitting down to try to focus, then it's actually a tool.
Do I take them all away?
So it's a necessity. So
okay, if you are
don't take all your kids' toys away.
Sometimes, if you are neurotypical, do you not allow your kid, as a parent? Do I take all these fidgets away
at home?
I don't know. Just
you can let kids play with toys, but then they're treated as toys.
Okay.
This to me looks like a toy. Like, I'm not really sure who this would be helping, but I would play with it as a toy.
Yes.
But would I bring it in the classroom? You know what? There might be a student who needs the sensory input from this and needs to move their hand, and they can put it under the desk and they can move it, and then they can actually sit and listen to me speak. And by all means, I am not taking that thing away.
If you are a teacher, you know this sound. Poppets have taken on this whole new life. On Sunday mornings at Mass, you can hear poppets in the hands of toddlers all over the pews. Do you have that experience?
No.
And at home, in the back seat of the car, there's some poppets that have some noise, no noise, a pop tube, which is super.
Oh no, that is not a fidget, Jill. That is a toy. That is a big straw, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how do you?
That's not helpful to anybody. No.
Talk me through. I know you have some rules. So, how do you decide who should and shouldn't, and what they should do?
This is the thing. So, when many teachers are trying to figure this out, and they're exactly where you're coming from. When is it a distraction, and when is it a necessity? And for some students, they work it out, and it's a necessity for them. And as long as it's not a distraction, then they should be able to use it if it's actually helping them focus. So, I do have some fidget rules here, and these should be posted in classrooms. There are visuals of, if you're going to use it this way, this is appropriate, and if you are going to use it this way, that is a toy that is not appropriate.
Okay, let's hear the rules. I want to hear them.
Okay, so we have a definition of what a fidget is. A fidget is a small object that keeps your hands busy so you can pay attention to the teacher. Sometimes a fidget can help you listen better during class. So a paper clip, an eraser, or a small toy can be a fidget. You can hold it in your hand, you can feel it, move it, play with it, as long as you're looking at the teacher, as long as you're focusing on the lesson. Sure. Okay. So how do I know if I need a fidget, Jill? It's good to use a fidget when you're having trouble paying attention in class. So you try it. You just have to try it. It's good to use a fidget when you keep touching things and you're not supposed to touch. Or if you're chewing on things and you're not supposed to be chewing on them. Or whatever you're tearing paper, you're doing whatever. So put a fidget in your hand. And not all fidgets are created equal. I'm telling you. You got to figure out what works for you. You shouldn't need to look at the fidget very much. It's all about the sensory input and the focus.
So not a Rubik's Cube.
So not a Rubik's Cube. No, unless it's the sensory input that you're getting from the cube and the click, click, click from the cube.
But it's distracting because you're trying to match as you're playing a game.
You shouldn't be looking at it, yes. If you look at the fidget too much, then you won't be paying attention in class.
Okay.
Makes sense, right? Another rule is that you shouldn't try to get your friend's attention with the fidget. It is not fair to disrupt other people that are trying to learn.
Oh, what? You can't throw the ball across the room?
Absolutely not. And
Launch
we have a picture of that. This is a no-no, absolutely not. Another rule is that the fidget needs to stay in your hands or at your desk. A fidget is not to be thrown, dropped, or bounced. So a fidget is good to use if you're having a hard time paying attention, but you have to be careful to follow the fidget rules. Oof. So there are rules around these things. And and that's how you figure it out, because the kiddos that want to use the fidgets to throw to their friends, those are toys. That's a distraction. So anything that helps focus on the learning. Do you know the difference now?
Yeah. Well, speaking of distraction, there's the bell. Thanks for the energy boost as we love exploring your ideas and affirming your efforts. Keep the suggestions coming in and tune in next time. Everyone's homework is to figure out if they're supposed to be using fidgets or not. There's always more ideas and time to celebrate them. So let's keep those ideas coming from fellow teachers. Let's get back to class. See you next time.
See you next time.